Some people arrive and make such a beautiful impact on your life, you can barely remember what life was like without them. Anna Taylor, welcome wisdom seekers. In a world that often rewards the loudest voice and the flashiest presence, there walks a different kind of woman. She doesn't shout. She doesn't beg to be seen. Yet when she enters the room, everything changes. She is the Sigma, female, independent, soft-spoken, powerful in ways that don't seek permission. Her calm isn't weakness. Her silence isn't absence. It's a presence so full it disrupts the ordinary. Today, we're diving into 8 strange and psychologically rich behaviors that men exhibit, often unconsciously, when faced with a Sigma female. These aren't the typical "he likes you" signs. These are subtle shifts in the male psyche triggered by a woman who doesn't play the game but rewrites the rules. If you're a Sigma female, this video might feel like reading your own diary. If you're not, it may help you finally understand one. Subscribe to the channel because wisdom isn't loud, but it's powerful. And if you're seeking, you belong here. 1. The glitch in his confidence. There's something unsettling, almost disarming about meeting someone who doesn't seem to need your validation. For many men, confidence is a performance, a mask, tailored to elicit admiration or compliance. But when a Sigma female enters the scene, the script malfunctions. She's not hostile, she's not cold, she's simply immune. He notices her in a room, not because she's the loudest, but because she's completely centered in herself. Her posture speaks of quiet assurance. Her eyes don't search for approval. Her smile, if it appears, is a private thing, and that makes her presence magnetic and terrifying. The man who's used to being noticed for his status, humor, or charisma finds himself inexplicably off balance. He attempts to impress Casu, ally at first, then increasingly obviously, but she remains unfazed. She's listening, yes, but she's not impressed by noise. She responds to substance. And here's where the glitch happens. He begins to question himself. Why isn't this working? Am I not interesting enough? Why do I suddenly feel insecure? He may double down, exaggerating his charm, or he might pull back, trying to regain his footing. But either way, the Sigma female has unknowingly touched a nerve. The part of him that's never had to earn attention, only demand it. She disrupts his rhythm, not by attacking it, but by refusing to dance to it. And that's where the psychological impact sets in. Her indifference isn't rejection. It's a mirror, a quiet one, the kind that shows him who he really is without distortion. In some men, this will spark growth. They'll feel inspired to rise to her level, to meet her, not with ego, but with authenticity. But others may retreat, resentful, confused, not because she insulted them, but because she saw them and didn't flinch. 2. Silent competitions. When men meet alpha women, they often feel the need to compete directly, openly, sometimes aggressively. But with Sigma females, the competition is covert, psychological, and often subconscious. The Sigma doesn't posture. She doesn't claim space. She simply occupies it deeply and wholly. Her presence alone challenges the social hierarchy because she isn't playing the game. She exists outside it. That alone creates tension. Some men, especially those who measure their worth by external validation, interpret her detachment as a power move. She thinks she's better than me, but she doesn't think that. She's not thinking about him at all. She's in her own world, and that, ironically, pulls him into hers. He begins measuring himself against her, not just physically, but intellectually, emotionally, even spiritually. He starts out mimicking her calm, trying to mirror her emotional self-regulation. He notices her ability to sit with silence and tries to do the same. He observes how she avoids small talk and pivots to meaningful conversations, and part of him wants to prove, I can be like that too. This silent competition plays out in subtle ways. He'll try to match her energy but can't sustain it. He'll feign detachment but keep checking if she notices. He'll assert his opinions more forcefully, then glance at her to see if she flinched. He's not competing with her for dominance. He's competing for recognition from someone who doesn't give it away easily. What's ironic is that she's not participating in this competition at all. She's simply being unmoved, uninterested in games, and that's what makes the game so intense for him. He realizes that usual tactics, showing off, flirting, commanding, attention, don't work here. So he shifts, adapts, transforms, all in silence. And sometimes in this silent competition, he discovers something deeper within himself, a quieter strength, a more centered masculinity. But sometimes he just burns out because trying to match someone who's not even playing is exhausting. 3. The mirror reflex. There's a strange psychological reflex that emerges when a man interacts with a Sigma female. Without realizing it, he begins to mirror her. Not out of manipulation, not because he's trying to imitate her consciously, but because her authenticity disturbs his autopilot. And, in trying to connect with her, he unknowingly starts reshaping his own patterns. It might begin subtly. He starts speaking more slowly, matching her tone. He finds himself pausing more in conversation, as if absorbing her. Calm. He begins rejecting small talk, and instead leans into depth, poetry, philosophy, childhood dreams, and he doesn't even know why. It's like she pulls him into a different frequency, one where surface-level charm has no currency and only realness matters. His nervous energy calms around her. His laughter becomes less performative. His posture softens. In short, he becomes more himself simply because she refuses to be anything else. This mirroring effect is deeply disorienting for some men, especially those who've spent their lives mastering social masks. Around a Sigma female, the mask feels unnecessary, even silly. Not because she confronts it, but because she sees through it and chooses not to engage with it. In her world, pretense has no foothold. What's even more intriguing is how quickly this transformation can happen. A man may have known her for only a few days, but he'll notice subtle shifts in how he behaves, not just with her, but even alone. He may spend more time in solitude. He may return to journaling or music or nature. He may begin filtering his conversations, choosing truth over performance, all because something in her awakened, something in him. But here's the twist. Not all men like what they see in the mirror. Some realize how far they've drifted from their true nature. Others feel exposed, raw, vulnerable, even ashamed. And rather than lean into that discomfort, they pull away from her. Because while the Sigma invites transformation, she doesn't cushion the process. She doesn't save. She doesn't coach. She simply exists and lets that existence challenge whatever is false around her. For the man who's ready, this can be a turning point. For the one who isn't, it can feel like emotional whiplash. The mirror reflex isn't about mimicry, it's about resonance. She resonates at a frequency that demands truth. And when someone isn't used to that, it can feel like standing in front of a mirror for the first time without makeup, without lights, without lies. 4. Panic of irrelevance. Some men, when faced with a Sigma female, experience a kind of emotional emergency. It's not love, it's not lust, it's the panic of irrelevance. This is the deep unspoken fear that they have, nothing to offer her, nothing she needs, nothing she lacks, nothing that could improve her already complete presence. And in a world where many men are conditioned to feel useful only when they're needed, this triggers a crisis. You see, Sigma females don't orbit around men. They don't wait to be saved, completed, or chosen. They don't signal weakness to attract protectors. They are full within themselves emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. And that fullness feels to some men like a locked door they don't have the key to. So the panic begins. He may try to impress her with success, ambition, or social proof, but she seems unmoved. He may offer unsolicited advice, fixing energy, or guidance, but she gently sidesteps it. He may even try to provoke her emotionally, seeking a reaction, but she responds with composed detachment, and that's when it hits him. He doesn't know how to matter to her. It's not that she's cold, it's not that she's dismissive, it's that her energy doesn't orbit around others. She is her own center of gravity. This triggers anxiety in the man who's used to relationships where being the hero, the fixer, or the alpha guaranteed attention. Suddenly, none of those roles apply. So, what does he do? Some spiral. They push harder, louder, more intensely, trying to force themselves into her world. Others retreat entirely, creating narratives like, she's too much or she doesn't want love just to protect their ego. But a rare few pause. They breathe. They listen. They realize they don't need to be needed. They need to be present. The Sigma female doesn't want a savior. She wants someone whole, not someone who completes her, but someone who meets her fully and without panic. The panic of irrelevance fades only when the man realizes his worth isn't measured by his utility, but by his essence. With her, the game isn't about being irreplaceable. It's about being real. 5. Respect, lust, confusion. There's a peculiar tension that arises in certain men when they meet a Sigma female, one that blurs the line between reverence and desire. At first glance, she doesn't scream sensual. It is she doesn't flirt, doesn't lure, doesn't play games. She walks into a room with the calm of a forest and the gravity of a storm. There is no show, no pretense, just presence. And that presence, it shakes something ancient in the masculine psyche. He respects her deeply, instinctively. She doesn't demand it. She commands it by simply being who she is, clear in her boundaries, intentional in her words, calm in her energy. But alongside that, respect grows something else, something more visceral. A pull, a heat, an ache, to be closer, to touch, to taste, to unravel the mystery of her silence. And he doesn't know which one is which. Is it lust masked as admiration, or is it admiration that's so deep it bleeds into attraction? This confusion is especially strong in men who are used to categorizing women into binary roles, the ones they respect and the ones they desire. But the Sigma shatters that division. She's neither the saint nor the seductress. She is whole, and wholeness is disruptive. It doesn't help that she remains emotionally neutral. She doesn't feed the fantasy. She doesn't hint or flirt or open the door wider. She lets him sit in his own discomfort, not cruel but naturally. And in that stillness, his internal battle begins. He may try to intellectualize his feelings. I admire her mind, but his body betrays him. He may claim it's just curiosity, but the way he watches her, the way his breath changes when she speaks, says otherwise. He doesn't know how to approach her. Does he bring her flowers or a philosophy book? Does he compliment her beauty or her intellect? Should he make her laugh or stay silent and hope she notices his depth? There's no script because she's not playing a part. What's even more intense is the guilt he sometimes feels, like his attraction somehow taints the purity of his respect. As if wanting her physically is a betrayal of how deeply he honors her as a person. This inner storm is unfamiliar and for many men uncomfortable. But here's the truth. The Sigma doesn't want to be split into parts. She doesn't need to be either or. She can be deeply respected and deeply desired at the same time. And the man who can hold both truths without shrinking from them, that's the man who might actually reach her because she doesn't need you to worship her. She needs you to see her. 6. The sudden distance test. This one confuses even the most emotionally intelligent men. Everything seems to be going well. Connection, flow, shared interests, subtle, warm energy. And then she disappears. No drama, no explanation, no warning signs, just silence. At first, he rationalizes it. She's probably busy. Then he waits, and suddenly the silence starts to echo. What he doesn't realize is that this isn't a game. It's not manipulation. It's a test of presence, not persistence. For the Sigma female, space is sacred. She doesn't fear solitude. She thrives in it, and she uses it intentionally, especially when she feels a connection building. Why? Because she needs to know one thing. Are you chasing her or seeing her? She's not testing his loyalty. She's watching his rhythm. Will he try to break the silence with noise? Will he panic and demand answers? Will he shrink into insecurity, or will he stay grounded, consistent, unshaken? The sudden distance is a filter. It reveals the men who need constant validation to stay connected and those who can trust the connection even in silence. And here's the deeper truth. For the Sigma, emotional closeness isn't built through constant presence. It's built through energetic steadiness. If she pulls away, it's not always because she's unsure. Sometimes she's watching how you handle not being the center of her world. Can you hold your ground when she's in her cave? Can you stay soft without begging, strong without forcing? This stage breaks many men. Some get angry. You ghosted me. Others get clingy, texting, calling, needing reassurance. And some simply vanish in, return, play, hang tight-fought with silence. But a rare few wait not with desperation, but with respect. They hold the space, trusting the rhythm of her return. And when she senses that steadiness, that non-reactive presence, something in her opens, because now she knows you don't want to possess her. You want to walk beside her, and that is everything. 7. Over-disclosure syndrome. Something strange happens to certain men when they sit across from a Sigma female. They start talking a lot. Not in the usual way, not boasting, not joking, not dominating the conversation to impress her. This is different. This is vulnerable, emotional, unfiltered. Within minutes they're sharing things they haven't said out loud in years. Childhood traumas, insecurities, secret dreams, quiet fears, and often they don't know why they're saying it. It just spills out. This is over-disclosure syndrome, the involuntary urge to emotionally undress in front of someone who feels emotionally sovereign. The Sigma female doesn't pry. She doesn't pressure. She simply listens fully, silently, without judgment. And in that stillness, a man feels something he didn't know he needed. Safety. Not the safety of control, or being coddled, or being admired, but the safety of being witnessed without being fixed. She doesn't react dramatically. She doesn't pity him. She doesn't interrupt with advice. She just holds the space, quiet, warm, aware. That kind of presence can crack open a man's emotional dam, especially if he spent his life performing or protecting himself. He begins to speak in layers, not just what happened, but how it felt, not just the facts, but the meaning behind them, not just the roles he plays, but the parts of himself he hides. And it terrifies him because afterward, when the moment ends and he's alone again, the emotional hangover begins. What did I just say? Did I go too deep? Does she think I'm weak? He may feel exposed, even ashamed. He may retreat suddenly, hoping to erase the intimacy he accidentally created. He may ghost her, not because she did something wrong, but because she saw too much. What he doesn't understand is the Sigma female wasn't overwhelmed. She wasn't judging him. She wasn't shocked by his truth. She just has the kind of energy that makes people drop their armor because she doesn't wear any herself. But here's the paradox. While she welcomes emotional honesty, she's also not responsible for what it uncovers in him. She won't chase him to process what he shared. She won't mother his shame or hold his hand through his internal chaos. She'll simply return to her stillness, to her life, trusting that if he's meant to stay, he'll come back clearer, not smaller. And that's what separates the men who grow from the ones who run. 8. The fixation exit. Some men fall for the Sigma slowly, others crash into her like a tidal wave. But either way, once they feel the gravity of her presence, they enter a phase of emotional fixation. They think about her constantly, not just in terms of attraction, but curiosity. Who is she really? What is she hiding? Why does her silence feel so loud? They analyze her messages, reread her words, try to decode her calm. She becomes a quiet storm in their minds, not chaotic, but unshakably present, and then, often without warning, they leave. Sometimes gradually, sometimes suddenly, but either way, they retreat emotionally, physically, energetically. And the Sigma, female, she doesn't chase. She doesn't ask what happened. She lets them go because she's seen it before. She knows this pattern well. The fixation exit. It's the moment when a man realizes that he can't earn her, can't own her, can't figure her out the way he's used to, doing with others. She's not impressed by displays. She's not hooked by validation. She doesn't bend to potential. And that frustrates him because he's not used to a woman who feels unconquerable. So the exit becomes a way to reclaim control. Leave before she rejects me. She doesn't need me anyway. I need someone less complicated. He builds these narratives to soothe the sting of not being able to win her. But what he doesn't realize is she was never playing a game. What he experienced wasn't a test. It was a mirror. And what he saw in that mirror he wasn't ready to face. But here's the twist. Even after they leave, they don't forget her. Years may pass. Other women may come and go, but something about her stillness, her clarity, her self-containment, it lingers. She becomes the one they remember during quiet moments, the one they write about in journals they never show, the one who taught them something without teaching anything at all. Because the fixation exit isn't about her, it's about how hard it is for some men to love a woman they can't save, can't control, and can't define. And for the Sigma female, that's exactly why she stays rare. So, wisdom seekers, what have we truly uncovered? We've seen how the presence of a Sigma female, calm, sovereign, and rooted in her essence, can ripple through the psychology of men in unexpected ways. Some are magnetized, others are unsettled, many are changed. But the point isn't about how men react. It's about what her presence awakens, not just in others, but in herself. She's not here to be figured out. She's not a puzzle, a project, or a conquest. She is a path. And if you're watching this thinking, this is me, this explains why I feel too much, why I take space from the world, why I crave solitude and truth. Then welcome. You're not broken. You're not difficult. You're just living at a different frequency. And this frequency doesn't need to be louder to be valid. It just needs to be honored. So, if this video spoke to a part of you that rarely gets spoken to, subscribe to the channel. This is wisdom, ways, and this space was built for you. Choose yourself softly. A spiritual whisper, a poetic offering, a quiet rebellion against the world's noise. This book is not a manual. It is a mirror. It's written for the woman who feels everything deeply but speaks gently. For the one who disappears, not to be missed, but to find herself again. Inside you won't find strategies or rules. You'll find space. Space to return, to breathe, to soften. Because choosing yourself doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be dramatic or final. It can be slow, gentle, ongoing. This book is a soft landing for the parts of you that are tired of performing, tired of pleasing, tired of living in reaction to everything outside of you. It's a quiet invitation. Come back. Come home. See. Inward. Not because the world asks you to, but because your soul is ready. The link to the book is waiting in the description and the first pinned comment. And if you feel called to open it, it's already yours. Music.